And get started. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sharon Holy. I'm located in Chardon, Ohio. I'm a senior portrait photographer, and I have been doing this since 2010. I want to take a moment to thank everyone for taking time out of their days to join us. Obviously, originally we had planned on doing this in person with pictures of every participant hanging on the walls and speakers and more, but obviously with what's going on in our world today, we had to get a little creative. But this actually might be better because there's people from all over joining us, so that's kind of cool and maybe opens it up to more people. So I'll be referring to my notes to keep myself on track. If you know me, you know I can easily get distracted, so the notes are necessary. So today we'll be presenting Project Beauty 2020 live here in a webinar format. We'll have speakers, the same speakers we would have had if we had it in person, including a few Project Beauty participants, Lydia, Holman, Natalie, Larkman, and Julia Tousel. We also have Jessica Rudd, John Carroll University counselor, and Cheryl, Ryland, CEO and founder of the Center for Balanced Living. And EJ Spark, Cleveland musician, he wrote a song specifically for this project. We'll be unveiling our Project Beauty 2020 video, which is a collaboration of pictures of each of the participants put to EJ's new song. It's called Superwoman, and he will be talking more on that. Can't wait for you guys to hear it, it's amazing. And lastly, we'll be sharing Project Beauty virtual art tour, or virtual art gallery. It'll allow you to click on the images that you'll see hanging on the wall, and you can click on them to get a closer look and get to know each participant through their pictures and their stories. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll try to answer them at the end if time allows. Also, be sure to say hi and let us know where you're listening in from so we can see where you're from. So if any participants want to leave a short comment about their experience, we'll try to read through some of them at the end as well. So first, I'd like to tell you a little bit about Project Beauty. Project Beauty is a no makeup, no retouching campaign. Students participate in a makeup-free photo shoot that specializes and focuses on just their individual beauty. Its mission is to free participants from the idea of perfection, leaving them empowered to feel not only confident about themselves, but to embrace the flaws that make them so uniquely beautiful. This is the first year that I've offered Project Beauty. Overall, we had 31 high school students starting at age 14, and we had 20 college students up to age 22. So I was inspired to create my own Project Beauty campaign after seeing the works of Thomas Wynn. He's a Cincinnati photographer that inspires me with every image he shares. His creativity has no boundaries. Thomas and fellow photographer Sean Brown got together and shared their programs with other photographers around the country, and kind of it really encouraged us to just go and create our own campaigns. So all the photographers around the world, there's lots of them doing it, and everyone has a different spin on it, but the mission still remains the same. And it's actually really cool to see. Said that already. I fell in love with the idea of helping young adults. I wanted them to just take a moment to stop and think about what true natural beauty really is. And I wanted to help them see it through their own pictures. So I'm not against makeup, obviously, but I want people to realize that makeup is not meant to cover up, but to enhance. As a photographer, too often I see the pressure put on young adults to feel like they have to be perfect or act a certain way in fear of being judged by their fears. And social media has only heightened this by pressuring them, making them more apprehensive about sharing pictures of themselves, making them harshly judge themselves. I wanted to put the power back in their hands. So I want to give a shout out before we really get started and a huge thank you to Dr. Tracy Masterson, Associate Professor of Psychology, and our colleagues at John Carroll, especially Jamie Wolf, who's also with us today, for embracing this project, helping spread the mission, and by sharing it with its students and helping to coordinate its efforts. When I started this project with my senior model team, I contacted Dr. Masterson to see if she had any ideas for charities that we could back with it. I wanted to find a charity that would help young adults that were affected by the issues that I'm trying to enhance here. So she responded back and said she loved the project and wanted to collaborate. She expressed that college-age students are just affected by these pressures as well, and the idea that they have to look perfect. So once we decided to work together, it took her about 5 minutes to put a team together. And I mean, literally, I got an email with a big group of people. So everyone started collaborating and really getting together to make this thing a reality. So speaking of Jamie Greenwolf, in addition to having a huge hand in spreading the word about Project Beauty at John Carroll and helping coordinate the event, Jamie has agreed to be our technical person for this live presentation of Project Beauty 2020. And I will be eternally grateful for him because this was stressing me just a bit. So I'd like to welcome Jamie Greenwolf, coordinator of student wellness at John Carroll University.
Hey,
Hi,
good to be here.
What about Project Beauty interested you enough to want to participate?
So right now I'm the coordinator of student wellness at John Carroll, and before that I worked in other kind of like health and wellness work at Case Western Reserve. And so I think this is an issue around like body image and esteem, like and self-worth, that is often tied to the way people look, and it inhibits all of the things from academics to relationships to taking care of themselves. And I thought that this was a unique way of looking at the issue and really helping people see their worth and how it's not necessarily tied to makeup or the way that they look, and realizing how do they appreciate what their body can give them and things like that. So I just thought it was a great opportunity to work with you.
Yeah, you have been a huge help in spreading the word, and I'm super grateful. So working in student wellness, you see firsthand the struggles that the young adults face. Would you like to share your perspective on this?
Yeah, so I do a lot of the educational programming around mental health things on our campus. So everything from eating disorders to body image to anxiety, depression, and then just stress relief, and everything in the middle. And what I frequently find is that people view it as a very individual experience. They think that they are the ones who feel this way and that no one else can understand that. And while everything is unique, everything that people are facing is unique to them, they're also a part of a whole group of people who feel that way. And they can connect and realize that they're not weird for being like self-conscious about this, or they're not strange for being worried about these things, because I think they think that they're the only ones. And when we have a project like this where they can see the stories of other people, it's a really empowering experience and helps you kind of be more vulnerable and more authentic and own your story and who you are.
I totally see that, like as a high school senior photographer, it's like individually, I can see each one of them with these struggles, and they don't realize, like you said, everybody is dealing with a struggle in one way or another. So that's great. So how do you think Project Beauty can or is making an impact?
So I mean, this is a bigger thing than what we're doing here, and I hope that this helps it continue on to other communities. And so far, I think on an individual basis, and we'll hear more about this from the people who have taken part, right? I think it's helped them reflect and kind of understand their experiences and the things that have made them who they are. And my hope is that this helps people do that without having to go through a whole photo shoot, that they get to look in the mirror and they get to look at themselves and think about all the things that make them them and what gives them value, and help them just kind of understand it without having to go through this formal process. So hopefully people listening, hopefully people who watch this later are able just to understand that. And when they are able to take that in, I think that takes a huge burden off their shoulders. It can kind of feel like a weight is just lifted, like, okay, like I can do this even if I don't like this one part about myself. And then how do I learn to love that part, which is then the harder work, but it's worth it.
Right. And I think that's like the big thing, like that part that they don't like about themselves is also the thing that makes them special. So
Yeah.
that's definitely a mission that I hope that this conveys to them. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you being on. So each participant was asked to write a why paragraph. This paragraph meant different things to each participant. And for some, it was, what does true natural beauty mean to you? Other shared struggles that they've gone through, or how social media and the expectations to be perfect affected them. So we've asked a few of these participants to join us today. And first I'd like to welcome Lydia Holman. She's a John Carroll class of 2021 student. So give us a second, get her on. Hi, Gretchen. Hi, Lynette. Hi, Lydia. I can't hear you yet.
Any luck now?
Yes, you're great.
Awesome. Hi, how is everyone?
Thank you so much for being with us today. You talked in your questionnaire or application for Project Beauty about wanting to be part of Project Beauty because you've struggled with your own self-image, and you like the fact that Project Beauty empowered women to define their own beauty. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Absolutely. For me, I sort of stumbled across Project Beauty at school, at the flyer, and the more I looked at it, I sort of took a screenshot and kept moving between my classes. And especially, you know, I'm a junior, and I've been at this point thinking a lot about where I've been and where I'm going, because it's a very transitional period. But just the idea that so much of the thought of beauty is wrapped up in image, but more than that, it's really about who you are and being confident and reflecting who you are. And I just like that it takes an image, but uses that to really reflect individual personality and just give people an opportunity to see themselves as they are and how they want to be reflected. So yeah.
That's awesome. So in your why paragraph, it was one that really stood out to me because you kind of poetically referred to the mirror and your struggles with it. And I believe we put one of the mirror pictures in the slideshow, correct?
Yeah.
So for her photo shoot, I brought a mirror along, so we did a few pictures with the mirror. So would you like to talk about your struggles with the mirror?
Yeah, so we'll have a chance to read the paragraph, correct?
Yeah, you can read it like at the end of this.
Okay, very cool. So when I thought about sort of the idea of image and the mirror, I thought a lot about, you know, my history with mirrors and how every day, you know, we sort of catch our own eyes in the reflective surfaces and things like that, but how much such a stationary piece has really seen a lot of different versions. And for a long time, I was really using makeup and a mirror as something that to sort of portray a specific image I had of myself. I didn't want anyone to ever see me without makeup or to see me anything less than my view of pulled together and perfect. But through college, one of the things that I sort of had to cope with was that me just as I am was enough. And in fact, that it was something incredible and beautiful that I could really show to the world. So the transition from using the mirror as really something to view my flaws as and then as something that I could just really enjoy and use makeup as, you know, expression or even just when I wanted to, was a huge transition and something that I keep learning and growing with, but that really empowered me and has continued to do so.
Why don't you share your why paragraph with us now?
Okay. The mirror and I have had, to say the least, a complicated relationship. The mirror is where I learned to put on makeup, from the middle school days of raccoon eyes and orange eyeshadow to the practiced flick of eyeliner that graces my face more days than not. It's watched as I criticize and judge my flaws. It's seen me attempt to smear skin-colored paste across my features in an attempt to look more put together, more acceptable, more pretty. Makeup and being presentable have always gone hand in hand in my mind. I've canceled plans because I was too anxious to put on makeup, but knew I would not leave the house without it. Showing my bare, natural face to the world meant showing an unfinished, under construction side of me that even I didn't want to see, much less show to others. I remember nights that I slept in makeup just to avoid showing my bare face to that mirror. I've looked at myself through thousands of mirrors over the years, mostly through a critical eye. But the mirror that saw the most change is the one in my freshman year dorm room. It saw an eager young college student terrified of showing who she was, carefully applying layers of concealer for her first day of class. It saw bleary eyes, tired from staying up too late playing card games with new friends, eyes that decided to go without eyeliner for that day. It saw excited fingers sprinkle bold colors across my eyelids, using makeup for a fun Halloween night rather than just as a necessity. The mirror caught a quick glance as I rushed out the door for class and realized that I could show up just as I was, and that was enough. It saw big goofy smiles and nights of tears and saw a girl who made it through to the next day and the next, one who didn't need makeup as her armor. Having pictures taken without any makeup is scary. It's not something I've ever done before. But my natural face is not unfinished or lesser than my face with makeup. I am no less just because my appearance is different. I think it's important for us to see real people as they are, even with doubts and fears, to feel united in our most natural state, free and beautiful.
I love that. I have goosebumps. It's so good. And like I said, very poetic. And I mean, I think it like will make anybody just kind of stop and realize how much power they give that mirror and really shouldn't. So thank you for sharing that with us. How did you feel going into the no makeup shoot? Because you said you had never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
How did you feel once it was completed?
Well, it was funny because I had class right before. So not only was it, okay, I'm going to do this, but I also had to do class and then do it. So it was sort of a fun challenge for myself to not only have the photo shoot, but then to also practice, you know, a little bit of, I had a timeline in which it was more of the full day without makeup. But I was, you know, anxious. But then immediately, you know, as soon as we got set up, there was just this sense of like calm and just really, and then that turned quickly into excitement as I just really enjoyed working with you and I had a blast. And then on top of that, there was this acknowledgement that it was, you know, this free, natural face and my natural self, but I just felt really empowered and I just laughed. And it was sort of funny leaving those doors because I was just back to my life, but everyone around me didn't know that I had just had 10 minutes of really cool, empowering life, but I did. And so it was cool to have that difference.
That's so awesome. I have goosebumps again. And I remember you coming in and, you know, kind of a little apprehensive, and it took you like literally 2 seconds to, I mean, she was amazing. So I know you said, I saw on your Instagram story, you said you take every chance you get to spread positivity and self-love, and you did just that today. So thank you so much for being a part of this and for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. So next, I'd like to welcome Julia Tousel. Julia is from Lake Catholic High School in class of 2020. Hi, Julia. I'm going to give your video a second to click on. See if we can hear you yet.
Hi.
Yep, can hear you. Thank you so much for being here today. So Julia, you were one of my very first Project Beauty shoots before I even had opened up beyond my seniors. Why did you want to participate?
Well, not only did you make me really excited about the whole project, but it's really like a big thing, I feel like, around the world, not just me. Like when I first thought of the project, I thought, oh, that's like an amazing like opportunity for me to do and to join. But also like I just had like a bigger picture on it, that it's like more girls around the world, like this will like make them more like confident in themselves. So
yes, I totally agree, or I hope so at least. So I've been working with you and photographing you for a year now, and I learned something about you through this project that I was very surprised about and had no idea about, but you had complications from a medical procedure that really impacted your self-esteem. So can you tell us your story?
yeah, so when I was in 5th grade, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And so obviously that's just a really rough thing to like deal with and to have. So that was really tough on me, but I had to get a surgery to remove my thyroid. And that's like, it was like a 10-hour surgery, I'm pretty sure 9 to 10 hours.
Wow.
And they like were all in my neck, removing the big thyroid or whatever. And there's like, that's where your nerves are. So they touched an eye nerve during my surgery. So after the surgery was over, like I woke up and everything, I noticed that my one eyelid was like, all the muscles and nerves in the eyelid was like, made it shut more. And it was completely shut when I was in 5th grade. And then throughout the years, the muscle relaxed, got better and opened up more. But throughout all those years, I saw it in all the pictures and the mirrors and everything. And like when I was in 5th grade and 6th grade, I always wore my hair over my, like the side of the eye that was basically closed. So it was just like it really like affected me, like how I saw myself and everything. But like without it, I feel like I wouldn't be who I am today. And like without dealing with that whole situation, the cancer and everything, I just feel like it really made me who I am now. So
well, it definitely has made you a confident person. Like I said, it surprised me because you are one of the most confident people that I've worked with. So kudos to you on getting through all that. But I think also you said you still notice it sometimes today, and it's something I don't notice. So I think it kind of goes back to sometimes where we have these feelings about ourselves, like that people can see things or are judging us or are noticing things that don't even have a clue. I mean, I literally have taken thousands of pictures of her and would never have thought that. Did participating in Project Beauty have any effect on you? And if so, please share that with us.
yeah, and I just feel like there's a lot of negativity in the world, especially right now. But with this whole project, I feel like it just like embraces girls and what they actually look like, not from the outside, but what's inside. And I think it's really important to see people for what's inside and not just the outside. And I feel like that's what a lot of people see nowadays, is just what's on the outside. And I feel like that's just not fair. So this project really shows that.
I agree with you completely. And I'm so thankful for you for participating, for sharing your story with us. I hope others listening that might be going through something similar are inspired by your story and realize that, you know, their true beauty comes from within. And I just want to thank you for sharing it with us. So, thank you. Okay, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. This project was intended to be a charitable fundraiser. So all our proceeds were going to the Center for Balanced Living in Columbus, Ohio. The center's mission is raising eating disorder awareness, advocacy, support, and scholarship. Today, we're happy to have Cheryl Ryland, CEO of the Center for Balanced Living, with us today. Cheryl founded the center in 2001 and is a licensed independent social worker with supervision. Give her a second to sign up. Got some backlash there.
I kept losing connection. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm going to say that again, just in case people didn't hear that, but we're happy to have you with us. Cheryl is the CEO and founder of the Center for Balanced Living. She founded the center in 2001 and is a licensed independent social worker with supervision. So Cheryl will be sharing information on the services the center provides and ways that you can still contribute to her incredible organization. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So as the founder of the Center for Balanced Living, can you talk about the services the center provides?
Sure. So the Center for Balanced Living provides prevention, research, education, and we were providing direct treatment for eating disorders. As of last week, the treatment services of the center, I am very happy to say, have joined with the Emily program. The Emily program has 2 sites in Cleveland, so you may be familiar with them. They're a national eating disorder treatment program. So we are thrilled. What Emily can bring to eating disorder care in Columbus is expansion of services and sustainability of treatment. The Center for Balanced Living nonprofit will continue to do prevention work, community education, and provide scholarship for treatment.
I've heard, actually found you through the Emily program because I had heard so many things about the Emily program, which is located in Beechwood, and all of the services that it provides. And I was told by Dr. Masterson is the place to go. So they actually referred me to you since they are not nonprofit. So I'm glad to see that you're coordinating your efforts with them. Yes. So how do you feel social media affects confidence in young adults?
Well, the images that are out there, people only put sometimes their best image or their with their makeup on or dressed. And so we're always comparing. I think it's kind of natural for women to compare. I wish it wasn't so, but we do that. And we're always taught, and I think women create this problem for ourselves more than the men in our country. We judge each other, and we are pretty judgmental about ourselves and about others. Yeah,
I agree with that. And I 100% agree that it's definitely more prevalent in women, but definitely all genders experience it in some form or another. So that's why we're hoping this message is sent to everyone and not just young women. But what suggestions or words of wisdom would you have for any young adults listening that are struggling with some of these things?
If you're starting to feel a lack of confidence or self-doubt, turn your eyes away, turn it off, come back to it later. Mostly be self-aware of what you are viewing and how it's impacting you. If you're starting to feel less about yourself, it's probably not good to continue looking or reading at the moment.
Mm-hmm. That's actually really great advice. Do you have anything else that you would like to add?
I would say I do have something to add about the importance of the work that you're doing as it relates to eating disorders.
Yes.
So what we know is that eating disorders are a biologic, genetic, neurobiology disease. Someone doesn't plan or want to have an eating disorder. But the one thing that will turn on the switch, that will actually activate an eating disorder if you have the latent vulnerability, is dieting. And the behavior of dieting and weight loss is what will put in motion an eating disorder. And so preventing eating disorder is body image and stopping the dieting behavior.
That's actually very surprising. I didn't realize that it was actually a neurological disorder, but it's great advice. So thank you very much. Thank you for being on the call with us as well. So as you know, our intention with Project Beauty Exhibit was to give 100% of the proceeds, all of the admission charges were going to go directly to the Center for Balanced Living to support its efforts. And obviously with an online exhibit, that's not possible. But we'd still like to encourage everyone to consider making a tax-deductible donation. We've made it easy. We're going to, oh, Jamie already did. He's so good. Jamie put a link in the comments, which you can click on, and it will take you right to the place where you can make a donation for the Center for Balanced Living so that they can continue their efforts. I'll also be adding it to my Instagram link tree later today in case you don't get it in the chat, but be sure to copy and that so that you have it. But thank you again, Cheryl. You do great work. It's very much appreciated, and we appreciate having you on the call as well. It's been a pleasure working with you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So now I would like to turn to Natalie Larkman from John Carroll. She's a class of 2022 students. We're going to give her a moment to hop on.
Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for being with us today. I appreciate it very much. So in your application, when asked why you want to be part of Project Beauty, you mentioned being on a path of self-reflection. Would you like to talk more about that?
Yeah, so basically I would kind of say that my path to being more self-aware and self-reflecting was basically just disconnecting myself from the world and being very introspect with my thoughts and motivations and feelings, and especially my negative thoughts, kind of putting those into perspective and understanding the many ways that they were affecting my life and the goals I wanted out of my life. So I think a really important thing I started to do in this process was just before I went to bed or anything, begin to just make myself aware of specific questions I'd been asking myself. For example, do I like how I'm taking care of myself physically? And most importantly, do I care what others think about me? And I think that's a super important one for many people here because we struggle so much with this idea in social media, and we become conceptualized by it. So basically just by self-reflecting, I was able to take a step back, answer these questions, and not preoccupy myself with the world around us. Because I mean, especially right now, we could become very overwhelmed by the things we see online, and some of them might not be true or not. So just kind of unwinding, taking myself away from that, and just asking myself these questions and making myself more aware of the goals I wanted and the things I wanted out of my life, definitely.
It's pretty powerful, and it kind of goes back to what Cheryl was saying. You've done exactly what she said that you should do if you feel like you're starting to get overwhelmed, and
Yeah.
Pretty powerful for someone who's 20 years old.
Yeah, and almost a month.
20. So that's very commendable. That's
Thank you.
awesome.
Thank you.
So in your why paragraph, you talked about how social media influences affected your self-esteem and your struggles with anorexia nervosa. So would you share your story with us?
Yeah, so before I even realized I had a condition, starting really young, I saw a lot of dietary changes I was making, and just my view on food overall was very inconsistent with other people. I went to a very competitive high school, and I'm a very competitive person myself. I started to do a lot of athletics, which put a lot of pressure on my body awareness and the image I had of myself and how I looked, because I was competing against so many different people. But I think the main thing that really triggered my problems starting in high school was just online social media apps, and how the power of Instagram and Twitter and just scrolling through it a day can create so many negative thoughts. I mean, you see, they kind of create these unrealistic beauty standards for young teens and young individuals who are so not knowing how to fit in yet or what path they want to take. So they see these models online who they might not even know that are being photoshopped, or these stick thin athletes, which is what I would usually go to. I would see myself for hours scrolling through different food regimes and dietary tricks to try to make myself look like these hourglass athletes, and really just tried to compare myself. So I would definitely say that my body image stemmed from the impacts of social media. And it was not till later that I realized, like, when I was in treatment and inpatient and outpatient, I realized that my, like, obsessions with this manifested internally and externally, like, through my anorexia. So
That's very hard, I'm sure, to kind of share with people, but like, I think that it's so helpful to other people that they hear those kind of stories. Participating in Project Beauty changed the way you think about the social media influences and the way you look at yourself?
yeah, I definitely took some steps, especially just being in treatment, to kind of once again be more self-aware and reflect on how my hours of scrolling through just different models and just comparing myself was really negatively impacting my thoughts. And I kind of, I did 3 things that really helped create systemic change just overall for my life, and that was to unplug and unfollow and kind of unwind. So it overall, those can create such like a happy and healthier realm for you to live in. So by basically unplugging, you're taking yourself out of that social media realm that we see ourselves in every single day and spend hours and hours looking at, and making yourself more open to doing other activities that bring you joy. So for me, it was spending time with family and friends and people I know who would accept me no matter how I looked online, no matter if I Photoshop myself online, these people are always going to be there and love me. By unfollowing, that was a big thing for me too. I followed so many food regime accounts, the Fitspo accounts as they call them, and just that are very triggering for people who are suffering with body image and eating disorders. And then yeah, just kind of unwinding and finding new ways to express yourself and realizing that you are self-worthy and you don't need the approval of other people. And that was something that really empowered me and kind of helped me distance myself from that social media realm and make myself more self-aware. And yeah,
Those are 3 powerful words: unplug, unfollow, unwind. I think that
yeah,
everyone should stop, regardless of if you are struggling or not. It's always good to kind of just reflect, like you
of
said,
course.
and see how much emphasis you are putting on these things. So
Mhm.
is there anything you'd like to share with any young adults listening today?
So I think, you know, once again, just kind of reflecting on the social media aspect, we are constantly, young adults, girls and boys, are being subjected to like these unattainable beauty standards that we see through models and through just social media overall. And social media does a terrible job at reflecting kind of what the normal girl should look like. And I think being a part of this project, you're really a part of a community that's embracing and in redefining these new beauty standards that we don't really see on social media all the time. So for me, I want to tell everyone that you kind of have to unlearn what you thought was natural before and really self-reflect and open yourself up to embracing the natural you and the beauty that kind of comes from within. And then once you do that, you're able to express your individuality and understand your flaws and be proud of them. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Well, it was very it was very brave of you to share your story with us today. I loved working with you. You were all smiles and so much fun. I know it's never easy to be so raw and open about our struggles, but I'm confident that your story will help and affect so many people. So thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Okay, so now I would like to turn to Jessica Rudd. She is a licensed professional counselor at John Carroll University. Give her a moment to switch in. Make sure if you're listening in, you're commenting on where you're calling from so we can see you. Give her just a moment.
She was, and I think that she might be trying to rejoin with her panelist link, is my guess.
Perfect. We'll give her just a second. Hopefully everybody is enjoying the live presentation so far, and I think we've heard from 3 amazing young women with stories super powerful. And it goes to kind of what I said about Julia. I have worked with her and I would never have guessed that she's gone through the struggles, and I can say the same about Natalie and Lydia. Both came in very strong, confident young women, and I enjoyed working with all 3 of them. So I think we're almost getting there. Give it one more second. If you don't see the chat, you should be able to click on the bottom. There's a little bubble that says chat. And you can click on that and ask us any questions that you might have. Tell us where you're calling from. If you're a participant and you want to share a couple comments on your experience, we'll try to get to that later. Hi, Cheryl. Again, we included the link for donating to the Center for Balanced Living in our chat as well, so you can copy and paste that. And just, I think we almost got her. I can't tell what everybody sees there. So, okay, here we go. So again, this is Jessica Rudd. She is a counselor at John Carroll University. Hi, Jessica. Oh, is your video?
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Awesome. Well, thank you for being with us today. Sorry about the technical issue. So,
that's okay.
You work through the Student Wellness Center, is that correct? At John Carroll, or are you?
No, actually, I'll give you a little bit of my background at the Counseling Center. And thanking me in this, I wasn't aware of this project until a few days ago, but I actually used to work at the Emily program, started my career counseling. So I worked at the residential center unit in the Beechwood office. And I left in 2017, left the Emily program, and I work at a private practice now, where I still focus and specialize in eating disorders and body image. But I also am part-time at Carroll University Counseling Center.
Well, I've heard amazing.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
That. Yeah, you're a little, you keep freezing, but we can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
So what trends are you
So I've been part-time at the University Counseling Center for about a year and a half.
Okay, great. So being involved with the college students, what trends are you seeing with them today in regards to body image or social pressures?
Yeah, so having come from a very high level of eating disorder care and then going to a college campus, I was actually surprised at how almost every single student that I talk to has something to say about their body image, about their weight or the way they experience their body or their relationship with food, because every single person has those relationships. And when given a space to talk about it, it's actually shocking that it is so intricately tied with the way that we experience ourselves as human beings, and as many have alluded to, it does become very problematic when there's a sort of fundamental mix-up in our self-worth or our value as a person becoming tied to our image or our weight or shape or size and the way that we're experiencing that. So I would say the trend is that everybody is experiencing this in some way, and I hope to help people understand their relationships with food or their own body or the way they experience themselves and present themselves to the world. So it's definitely going up. And I know we've talked a lot about social media today. The other thing I just want to say, the other component of that is that there's a whole market built on selling products and it's telling us that we're not good enough and that we will be happier if we have this product or if we look this way. And so I loved what Natalie was saying about unplugging, unfollowing, and unwinding, and it's becoming harder and harder to do that because we're just inundated with these images and messages that are everywhere, you know, from the overt things that we choose to engage with, like social media, to, you know, billboards, or, you know, just going down the street, or even in the lingo of how we talk to each other. So as I also said, you know, it is about unlearning what we know about our experience with ourselves and our image.
Yeah, you know, you think it'd be shocking to hear that almost every person has issues with it, but me it's not, because I see it working with seniors. They're all, they'll say, well, I don't want to show my nose because it's too big, and I'll be looking at them like they're beautiful. I don't know what they, like, they see stuff that it's really not there. So what can friends and family do to support anyone struggling with some of these issues?
Well, so actually you just gave me a nice little intro, because what we tend to do when somebody is telling us, you know, I'm feeling self-conscious about X, Y, or Z, you know, my nose is too big, etc., we tend to say, you're beautiful. Oh my goodness, no, you know, like, I don't see you that way. I don't experience you that way. And we try to, you know, show them through our perspective what we might read somebody's and saying, you know, I'm feeling upset, I'm feeling isolated, I'm feeling down because of this. Important to listen to them, hear their experience, and validate what they're feeling and what they're going through. Because as we today, and so many of the panelists have spoken about, that we are all to some extent relate in some form, right? There's a whole spectrum, you know, maybe feeling uncomfortable with a certain aspect of ourselves, to somebody, the young woman who's about her experience with cancer and how that affected her physicality and the way that she experienced her body, to somebody who, you know, who has experienced a full-blown eating disorder. So we want to really be able to hear that person and help, right, what they're going through, because they're not reaching out for, you know, friends and family, us to say, no, that's ridiculous, right? That leaves the person invalidated, unheard. Whereas if you and says they're feeling self-conscious about something, you can listen, you can understand, you can maybe even and try and relate and say, you know, I've felt that before too. You know, it's hard to go through that. And of course, like I said, we're talking, so if it is that needs to be then linking that person to more supportive care than a friend or family member might be able to provide, that's also an important step too. But just from friends and family, I think a lot of listening and validation is important.
Well, that is actually great advice. I appreciate that too. Anything else that you would like to add or share with anyone listening?
Yeah. Yeah, so when I was asked to do the panel today, I challenged myself to not wear makeup today. And in that experience, it was kind of reflect what my experience of wearing makeup is, or the way I dress, or how I present myself to the world. For me personally, especially as I'm, being a panelist in a professional capacity, I realized that a lot of my physical presentation to the world is about wanting to be viewed as professional and wanting to be viewed in a certain way. And we all, as I mentioned earlier, have some kind of relationship to our physicality and how we present ourselves to the world. And so I would challenge everyone, and everyone here has done, to really think about your image and see if that can be filled in other ways, right? So my desire to be viewed as professional can be crossed with my expertise in the way I talk about something, as opposed to the makeup that I wear, right? When I say that out loud, that sounds professional. And so it can also help to those irrational thinking patterns that we've formed in terms of the way that we look to a certain asset or trait, or so I think we can all challenge ourselves to unlearn some of the things that we've experienced and reflect on our relationship to our body, especially if you're if you're being asked to be the supporter of somebody who's coming to you with a challenge, and you're trying to challenge yourself to relate to what they might be experiencing.
Right. I love that you challenge yourself, and that's actually a good message to everyone, to just take a minute and stop and challenge yourself to go to the grocery store or Starbucks when they're back open. It is funny because until you do it yourself, you don't realize how much emphasis you put on it. So thank you for sharing that with us. It's great advice, and thanks for being with us today. I'm going to take a minute to read a couple comments. Claudia Plowski said, great message. Daria, hi from Ohio State. Tina Adams, my daughter Brittany loved participating in this project. Bless you in all your efforts. Jane, all three girls were wonderful. Yes, they were. So much insight to offer to other young girls and guys with this ever-growing problem of low self-confidence combined with social media. Bravo to all three of the young women for being so strong to be involved in your fabulous project. Thank you so much. I appreciate and echo your words as well. So I knew that I wanted to end my campaign with some type of slideshow of the participants' images. And I struggled with finding a song that wasn't copyrighted and, more importantly, had impactful words that matched the mission that I was trying to convey. So I have to give a little shout out to my son, Jeffrey. He and his fiance in South Carolina, they're listening in. But I contacted Jeffrey because he's in marketing, and I asked him what they do for songs, for videos, and what his suggestions was. And he suggested contacting my cousin, Evan. So Evan, who's also known as EJ Spark, is a musician out of Cleveland. So I sent him a text and said, hey, Evan, will you write me a song? And he said, yeah. So was a little bit more into it, but he immediately was really excited about the project, asked me for all the details on it, and got to work. And when he sent me some of the words and lyrics as he started to write them, I was like, knew it was perfect. So please welcome EJ Spark, Evan Schlesiel.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, thanks for being with us today. So Evan, EJ Spark, is also a music artist, a writer, and the host of the Pit Podcast. Anything else? I know you just wrote a children's book.
Yeah, one of my biggest things is writing and storytelling. So, I ventured to children's books. I try to write other books. I also recently just started a YouTube channel, doing poetry content, writing content, music content, and stuff like that. So, just trying to entertain. That's what I love doing.
Well, entertaining you are. Evan's always high energy, super fun. You can't listen to him without smiling. So I know I kind of sent you a text out of the blue and said, hey, you want to write a song for me? But why'd you agree to write the song for this campaign?
Well, at first when you said you wanted to use a Selena Gomez or Christina Aguilera song, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to live up to people of that icon status. But of course I was honored, and of course I wanted to do it. And, I always wanted to make what I call like a big, epic, powerful song. And I felt like I didn't really have that in my, music library yet. And I knew I'd be able to make that statement, be able to send that message out. It's a great platform. It's a great cause. And I just felt like I just really wanted to do it. And I really wanted to be a writer of a song of that nature.
So what did you use for inspiration for the song, which by the way is called Superwoman?
Yeah, so of course for Superwoman, I thought of, at least the two most powerful women in my life. Of course, first, my mom, and, growing up might not have, always agreed on everything, but, as I get older, I realize, all she ever had was like immense love for me and my brother and everyone around her, and how she like cared for everyone. So, of course she was such a big inspiration. When I wrote the line, "You're my hero and I'm looking up to you," of course, it's my mom. And the other source of inspiration was my girlfriend, Carrie, who continues to just show me her strength every single day, gives me strength. She supports me through everything. And she makes me smile every day. And I think being able to smile every day is definitely hero work, making other people smile.
Yeah.
So when I say in the chat, when you smile, I smile and the world lights up, that's what I'm talking about, so yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure they're both kind of in tears right now, but I just want to correct you because you said two most important people in your life, and I think you meant three, your cousin Sharon.
Yes, of course. You are in there, every time we get together, you make me smile as well. And, I love that you're my cousin, and we always have an awesome time together,
We do, thank you. I'm just teasing you. So is there any messages that you hope that anyone listening to the song gets from your lyrics?
Yeah, I think the bottom line is to stay strong through everything. I'm a total dream chaser, right? I just believe everyone should do what they love and stay strong through everything, but also know that no matter what the circumstances are, you're making a change in somebody's world. And, that's also hero work, quote unquote, to me, making a change. And I also wanted to say, when I was writing the song, when I was writing the chorus, I was like, I need a wonderful, inspirational singer. And, when I was writing it, Ruby Santiago, who I believe is watching, came to mind because she is such an amazing, strong, independent woman with a beautiful voice. And when I was writing it, I was like, I need Ruby on this song. So I just wanted to thank Ruby Santiago for singing and blessing us with her vocals on this song.
Okay, Ruby is amazing. You guys will hear it. And it's kind of funny because I was going to say, do you want to give a quick shout out to Ruby? But what about the producers and mixers? I know that they did a lot with you.
Yeah, so my good friend Mitchell Maddock, he pushes me to be the best always. He's whose studio I go to, and he records me, and we write together sometimes. But he always pushes me to do my best. And then my friend Omito Beats, who's actually a producer in Canada, he's pushed me to be the best musical person I could be. And so he produced the beat, and, me and Mitch mixed it. Ruby put her vocals on it, and Superwoman became the product of all that.
I remember when he was talking about this, he's like, I have this girl, Ruby, I really want to work on this, but is she in Texas or something? I know she was going to be out of town. So he called me one day and she was in town, and he calls and said, we're heading to the studio now. So you guys are going to hear her voice is very powerful, pretty incredible. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Other than all that, just keep staying strong through everything going on, keep following your dreams, and just know you're making a change in someone else's life every single day.
Awesome, thank you. So EJ Sparks music is streaming on all platforms, so be sure to follow him. Superwoman released today, so please be sure to download it, share it with your friends so they can download it too. We've added EJ's contact Instagram name in the comments, so you can go follow him. Cheryl said, Evan touched my heart with his words. And Ruby said, I love this message. I'm beyond honored to be the vocalist on this song with EJ. I've had goosebumps during the entire session. Thank you for sharing your stories. This is so awesome. So thank you. And thank you, Ruby. We can't thank you enough. So like I said, you can follow EJ on Instagram at EJSpark1 for his links to his podcast, YouTube videos, and more. So thanks for joining us today, Evan, and for writing this and performing this beautiful, amazing song.
Thank you.
So each participant chose their 2 favorite images, and we've compiled them into a slideshow to EJ's new song, Superwoman. So without further ado, fingers crossed that I can do this technically, I'm excited to share the Project Beauty 2020 video and Superwoman with all of you. So give me a moment here. Let's see here. Can you see this? Yes. Awesome. How's it going?
Independent woman, how you doing? How you feeling? Glowing brighter than the moon, shining brighter than the sun. The sky is the limit, girl, you're one of a kind. You hold all the power in your heart and your mind. Beauty like the sunset, beauty like a queen, beauty like the northern lights. You see what I see? You're my hero, and I'm looking up to you. So strong, yeah, I love to see you bloom. You enchant me like the edge of the earth. Head to the sky, yeah, I hope you know your worth. When you smile, I smile, and the world lights up. Anything you want, yeah, it's coming right up. Have you ever seen the grass so green? Have you ever seen the sky so blue? So many colors, and it's just like you. Out of gold in your hands, and you know what to do. Independent woman, I can see you're doing great. You got big dreams, and I know you're on your way. I'm your biggest fan today and every day. With your courage and your strength, I can see you're so brave. And your wisdom, yeah, it made you prosper. So priceless, you're a showstopper. Get you in the spotlight and show 'em what you got. Possibilities are limitless, I know you'll never stop. We'll climb up the mountain, then we'll get to the top. See the lightning and the thunder, it's the world you're gonna shock, yeah. And you got it so naturally, and I love how you care for your family. Hey, have you ever seen the grass so green? Have you ever seen the sky so blue? So many colors, and it's just like you. Pot of gold in your hands, and you know what to do.
Are you back to me? Was that not amazing? Like, I get goosebumps. First of all, the pictures are so powerful. It's just like beauty shining through. And that song between Evan and Ruby's vocals gives me goosebumps every single time. So thank you all. If you'd like to watch it again, it's on my YouTube channel, Sharon Holy Photography, and it's going to be shared in the comments as well. And I'd like to congratulate Julia Tousel. She was one of our panelists today, and one of her images was chosen by EJ Spark to be the cover of his song. So it'll be easier for you to find when you're looking for it on any of the music platforms. All right, so changing gears a little bit, although it's not the same as an in-person art show, we've created a virtual art gallery. I was on a mission to find a way to make this happen. So it's kind of cool. Once you enter the gallery, you see all the pictures hanging on the wall. You can click on them to bring up the picture bigger and read each participant's why. I have to give a huge shout out to my daughter, Holy right now. She spent countless hours adding everybody's why in there, and more importantly, linking it. Every picture had to be linked back and forth. Every room had to be linked back and forth. It was very time consuming, and I really appreciate her doing it. She had lots of fun doing it. But you'll see how cool it is once you start navigating through it. So we'll be sharing the link in the comments for that as well. I'll also be adding it to my link tree, but now I'm going to try again to share that with you. So give me a moment here. Okay. Can you see that? Jamie, can you see that? And can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So when you first go into the virtual art gallery, you can click to enter it. And literally everyone's 2 favorite images will be hanging on the wall. You can click to go to the next room. I'm gonna put my little pointer on so you can see. You can click to go to the next room. You can click to go back to another room. You can actually click to go to specific slides if you want. But the really cool thing is you can click on an image to bring it up, and you can see that image bigger, and you can read everybody's why. You can click back and it takes you right where you were into the room. So I talked to you before about how we brought a mirror in for Lydia's, and there's one of the pictures from it. So I'm going to put this link to this gallery on my link tree. I'm hoping to add it to my website soon. And we'll also be adding it into the chat. Let me stop this and come back to you. All right, so what do you think? You can give us some like high fives or some hearts into the comments if you like what you're seeing. Let me see. I got this message says, Evan, this is Mom. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you so much. It's gonna make me cry. Bravo to you and Ruby and your crew for your beautiful Superwoman song. So cool. So thank you, everybody. All right, where was I? Told you I needed my notes. So before we end, I'd like to give a shout out to Brittany Schroeder. So she's a life and a business coach. She's located in Texas, and she's absolutely amazing. And she graciously agreed to help host this webinar when we were throwing it together at the last moment. So we're going to include her information in the link, but you can check her out at brittany.schroeder. Thanks, Brittany. Can't thank you enough for your generosity. If you're an entrepreneur and you would like some help coaching or life coach, she is the best. So I'd like to thank Jamie again for all his help. Jamie could not have done this without you. Do you have any final words you'd like to share?
No, just, thank you for including, John Carroll in all this. I think that we will greatly benefit from your work, and I look forward to seeing the impact we can have.
Thank you so much. Thank you to all our speakers today. Thank you for your support and for embracing this project and the mission. We couldn't have done it without any of you. Your words and your stories are what this project is all about. I never dreamed that my first Project Beauty campaign, first of all, would be in the middle of this Corona thing. But like I said, make lemonade out of lemons. My daughter keeps yelling at me for saying that. And find a way to make it happen. And now maybe this way it can be shared even further and to more people. So hopefully it'll just keep getting bigger and better each year. The mission of Project Beauty is meant for everyone, every gender, so it can affect all lives. We're thankful to all the young women who participated, not just the ones in our panel this year. You saw their beautiful pictures in the slideshow and on the walls of the art gallery, so please take time to go through and look at that. Our hope is that each of you ladies that participated realize that you're all beautiful in your own way. This has been a labor of love for me. I have been so inspired by your courage and your stories, and enjoyed every minute of working with you. Literally was amazing. I received so many benefits from this and learned so much from all of you guys and your strength. I encourage you to embrace your flaws and your uniqueness, for that's what makes you special. I believe your stories, again, will touch so many lives and will make others realize that beauty comes from the inside, and you have to start by loving yourself first. There's a quote that reads, "And when she loved herself, she found she was invincible." Each and every one of you are beautiful, strong, courageous, invincible women. Thank you for sharing your stories and your beauty with us. And thank you for everyone who took time out of your day to be with us today. Have a fabulous day, stay safe, and stay healthy. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.